What is up, good people of America and good people of this world? Matthew here. So, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what is the most painful thing that's ever happened to me? And I can't really say there's one most painful thing, but here is the most painful thing, the first most painful thing that ever happened to me. I've had many things that have pushed me to my breaking point. But when I was 4 years old, so my father was a cop in Bedford Stuyvesant. He fought the war against the Black Liberation Army, and every man wants to go out and play toy soldier, but very few men are actually built for war. You know what I mean? Um, Very few are actually built for war, and when they come home from war, they have PTSD, and they're homicidal, suicidal, because that's what PTSD. That's what happens because they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge, and they don't know what they're about. You know what I mean? And if you don't know what you're about and you go to war and your heart's not 100% in that war, you're going to come home with PTSD if you can't 100% justify the things that you've done. You know what I mean? That's why I know I don't go to war unless my heart is 110% in it. And I've been to war many times, not with the government's permission, for whatever. That's all another story. But yeah, and war is sacred. It's not a business. War is sacred. So anyway, when I was 4 years old, I went to this Catholic preschool at St. Barnabas Church in Belmore, Long Island, and just south of Sunrise Highway on Bedford Avenue. And the preschool was ran by these two women, and they were civilians. I guess they contracted out and they ran the preschool in the front room of the church. And my mother had dropped me off there, and when I got in there, the two women say, "Hey, children, it's we're gonna do finger painting today, so go grab your easels and then go grab your finger paints." So there was another little boy in the preschool. Now this is the beginning of preschool. It had just started. I think it was like maybe like the fourth or fifth day or something. And there was this other little boy, this little blonde-haired boy. I believe his name was Justin. I'm almost positive his name was Justin. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm like 99% positive his name was Justin. So I went and grabbed my easel. I set it up, and while I was doing that, I was conscious that he was watching me. When I went and turned to grab my finger paints, I saw him. He had watched me set up that easel, and as I'm grabbing my paints, I'm watching him. I'm watching him walk over to my easel and claim it as his own. So I go back to him and I set my paints up on the easel, and he's like, "What are you doing? This is my easel." I said, "No, no, man. You just watch me set this easel up. You know it's my easel. Go grab your own easel." He tried punking me out. Now, my father had always told me, "Listen, Matthew," my father had gotten bullied when he was a little boy. He ended up grabbing the bully by the back of the head, beating him down to the concrete, and then taking the kid's face and just smashing the kid's face into the concrete until there was just a bloody mess. And he always said, "Listen, Matthew, you don't go around bullying other people. You don't ever bully people. But if anybody bullies you and they put hands on you, feel free, Matthew. Feel free to punch that motherfucker right in their motherfucking mouth." Basically. And he probably did say it exactly like that, too, because that was my father. He always treated me like a little man, not like a little boy. You know what I mean? Like a little man. And, maybe not exactly like that, He probably said, "Punch that fucker right in his mouth." You know what I mean? So, anyway, Justin put his hands on me. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up grabbing him by his shirt. I ended up tripping him to the ground, getting on top of him, and just commenced to whooping his ass. You know what I mean? Lit him up, lit his entire tiny little face up until he was crying and, begging me to stop. And the women came over and they ripped me off of him. And we were cool. We were cool. You know what I mean? I was like, "You had enough. You had enough. You had enough." You know what I mean? And he was in submission. And we were cool. They broke it up. No sooner than that happens, all of a sudden, I hear the footsteps of dress shoes coming down the hallway that led up to the room where the preschool was held. And come through the door comes this 75-year-old, tall, thin, gray-haired, glasses, black spectacle glasses, the black frames. This nun who's 75 years old, Irish-looking, tall, thin, who is evil looking. And she says, "What's going on in here? Were there children fighting?" And the women say, "Yes, they were fighting, but it's over now. We broke them up. Everything's fine. It was just a little quarrel over an easel." No, no, everything's not fine. What are you talking about? No, they need to be punished. Point them out. Who is fighting? So the lady point me and Justin out, and the woman says, they need to be punished. I'm taking them down to the basement for timeout. They need to be punished. And the women say, wait, what? No, no, you can't take them down to the basement. They're our responsibility. They belong to the preschool, not to the church. These children are our responsibility. And the nun, she says, no, 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 they were fighting. They need to be punished. They were fighting. No, I'm taking them down to the basement to punish them. Now, what are these two? If two women that are running a preschool? What do they do? You know what I mean? What do they? I know what I would have done. But what if the average person? What are they gonna do? They broke weak. You know what I mean? When they got the supposed representative of God right in front of their face, telling them, no, they were fighting, and these boys need to be taken down to the basement and be punished. They broke weak, and they allowed the woman to take us both by our arms out into the hallway. She dragged us down the hall. Now, I started screaming and kicking because I knew something is very wrong here. Something is very wrong. But Justin didn't, man. Justin didn't. He was walking. And she took us down to the basement, and she fed us to a pedophile priest. And now I'm just being honest. I would tell the truth. If I thought anything went into my butt, I would tell you. I was a 4-year-old boy, so I don't think... You know what I mean? I don't remember feeling it, afterwards. I ended up blacking out. The beginning of it, I remembered, then I blacked out, and I didn't come to. This is how I came to. I came to back upstairs with that. I came to. My first memory after that is that evil fucking nun rope burning the top of my right arm. She had her both hands around my right arm, Indian burning it back and forth, telling me, if you talk to anybody, your parents or anybody else about what occurred down in the basement today, I am going to find you and I am going to punish you. And God is going to punish you. And she said it like 3 times. I'm going to find you and I'm going to punish you. And God is going to punish you. And she's telling me this. And she purposely waited until the preschool was over before she allowed me and Justin to leave because she didn't want the women to see us. And the women were gone. The women abandoned us. They just left us there. They didn't even come check on us or anything. Yeah. But anyway, my mother was outside in her Nova. She had this old brown Nova. And I remember it was overcast. It was raining. It was probably about 4 o'clock, 4:20, because I was 20 minutes late. I assume I was supposed to be out by 4 o'clock. And she opens up the door of her car, and she lifts the seat forward, and she says, why are you 20 minutes late getting out of preschool? Why are you crying? And I hop in the back seat. I look in the rearview mirror, and I was going to tell her, like, what occurred. And by the time I looked back up at her, she wasn't even paying attention anymore. Because at that time period, between her and my father, they're two totally dysfunctional human beings and everything that was going on, the violence in my household, the physical violence between the two of them. And, both of them love to fight. You know what I mean? They both love to fight with each other. They were oil and water. I always said they were like dynamite in a match, those two. The most dysfunctional couple I've ever seen in my entire life. You know what I mean? Two totally dysfunctional human beings. And, yeah, dude. I looked up and in my head I said, dude, I'm all alone in this world. I don't got anybody, man. My brother was beating me at this point. I mean, he used to beat me, dude, savagely. I mean, he would get on top of me, pin me down. That's probably how I learned how to beat Justin the way I beat him. I did to Justin exactly what my brother did to me. He would pin me down so my arms were between his knees, locked down, and he would just pound me in my temples, on both sides of my temples, boom, 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 until I couldn't open my jaw to eat for like 2 weeks, dude, where it was just ungodly painful to open my mouth to eat for like 2 weeks straight. And he used to do that to me. Don't get me wrong. They're human, dude. They're human. You know what I mean? Human beings are not built, especially without knowledge. Most human beings can endure trauma, and they break weak and they start taking it out on those around them when the pain gets to be too much. And I've never been that way. I will harm myself before I harm somebody else around me. Unless they do something wrong to me, that's a whole different story. But anyway. So yeah, dude, I went through all that. Right before that, my father had fired a gun off in the house, and the bullet whizzed, right by my head. Came through the floor of my bedroom, and while I was playing on the floor, and it almost took me out. That had happened just right before I got, molested by that evil, depraved fucking cunt nun and that pedophilic fucking priest, dude. Oh God, I saw that. Oh God, man. Yeah, I suffered all of that 100% alone. 100% alone. Within 12 hours, I got 104 fever, bedridden, sicker than I've ever been sick in my entire life. And within 3 days, the skin on my hands peeled off. It had traumatized my body. Now you gotta understand, I was I was as pure and gentle and kind and honest as a child could be. You know what I mean? I would, you know what I mean? That's not my words. That's my grandmother's words. And, I love to make people laugh. And I was just, you know what I mean? Never sweet. I was never sweet. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? I had a temper. If you hurt somebody around me, believe me, I was all up in your shit. But like, I wasn't a bully. I wasn't a trouble starter. I didn't, wasn't a troubled child or anything like that. You know what I mean? And even after that, I remained a good child. I didn't turn bad. I didn't break bad until I was 9 years old. I fought from that age until 9. But yeah, I went through all of that 100% alone. I never went back to that preschool because my body had shut down. And I was 2 weeks late starting kindergarten. My mom was leaving my father and she had gotten a job. And I was supposed to be in the morning class at kindergarten right before my 5th birthday. And I remember my mom was like, I got to go to work. You have to go to school today. You were supposed to be in the morning class 2 weeks ago, starting 2 weeks ago. You've been sick for I don't even know, months and months on end. She's like, you have to go to school. I got to go to work. And she physically restrained me, forced me into the car, dragged me into the afternoon class of kindergarten at Sawmill Road School in Miss O'Meara's class, dragged me in, put me into the seat, and then ran out of the classroom and abandoned me. And the whole class, I'm crying and, you know what I mean? Because, like, dude, after something that dramatic, dude, like, yeah, I wasn't going back to school, you know what I mean? It was full of a bunch of pedophiles. And I watched my mom leave and I turned and the whole class and the teacher were staring at me and I just started staring out the window and the sun was coming through the window. And all of a sudden, dude, because it was so overwhelming, the sun just started getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter until everything just went black. And then my next memory after that is coming to, laying on my back, and the entire class and the teacher were standing around me trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And all I can say is on that day when I woke up, dude, God had given me like the first thin layer of armor, a suit of armor to protect me for what was about to come, what I was about to start enduring from that point forward. Now, Miss O'Meara, that teacher, she ended up being a predator herself. Not a sexual predator. She was a physical. Physically, she liked to abuse children. And that incident must have told her, wow, this kid comes from a really messed up... That's how abusers work. That's how predators work. They prey amongst the weak to find those who show signs of dysfunction. They come from dysfunctional backgrounds because they know they could probably get away with it. You know what I mean? And what Miss O'Meara started doing was she would come up behind me and she'd grab the skin on my back at my shoulder blades in the middle of my back and she would grab it as hard as she could and she'd twist it, you know what I mean, incognito. So I'd be like, what the fuck, you know what I mean, and scream out. And then she would turn it like I was misbehaving, like I was doing something wrong. And she locked me in the coat closet for about 75 to 85% of that year. She stuck me in the coat closet every day. She would just, she would elicit a reaction from me and then use it as an excuse. Now, people could say, there's no proof of what I'm saying. No. On the Facebook page of Sawmill Road High School, of Sawmill Road, I saw a comment from a girl in Long Island. I don't know if she still lives in Long Island, but she said, my sister had Miss O'Meara, and my sister said Miss O'Meara used to be really abusive to her. She used to abuse her. Yeah, I thought, all them years afterwards, I said, I wonder why she chose me. I thought maybe because she hated men, she hated males, or maybe because my father was a cop. I didn't know, but obviously she was abusing women too. She just liked to abuse children, you know what I mean? And yeah, they are out there. People are like that are out there. And I would never, ever, ever throw dirt on somebody's name like that if it wasn't 100% true. 100% true. Miss O'Meara was a fat, abusive, nasty, mean fucking cunt. That woman was the devil. Just like that priest was the fucking devil. Just like that cunt fucking nun was the devil. Was the fucking devil. Is what it is. I make no apologies for that. No apologies whatsoever. And, Yeah, you know, this is the most fucked up part, dude. I thank by the grace of God, I never got sexually molested ever again after that. At 7 years old, when I woke, or sorry, not seven, at 5 years old, 4 years old, that kindergarten day, when I woke up, I had the thinnest suit of armor. But when I woke up, I remember like it was yesterday. I said in my head, I said, I'm fucking done with these motherfuckers. Ain't none of these motherfuckers ever gonna get away with hurting me again. They might try to hurt me, they might even hurt me, but there will be retribution. That's what I told myself. I will retaliate. I will fucking blood eagle those motherfuckers if I have to. I will blood eagle them and feel 100% awesome, 100% beautiful while fucking doing it to them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want to cross lines like that? You think you're going to just abuse me? You know what I mean? Unprovoked, you're just going to abuse me? Nah, you got me wrong. You got me fucked up. Fucked up. And it is what it is, dude. That's what abuse does to human beings. It gets you to a point where you say, enough is enough. Enough is enough, dude. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody looking out for me, so I got to look out for myself. And, yeah, man, well, let me finish that. So my parents divorced when I was 7. My mom commenced, becoming a full-blown alcoholic. My brother commenced to whipping my ass, and both of them, between my mom and my brother whipping my ass, I did not want to even be home anymore. So I was in the streets, and I was in the streets so much that I found myself starving in the streets, because even though I could go home and there might be food, a little bit of food in the fridge, not a lot, because we were very, very poor at that point, because my father didn't pay child support, and all he did was work against us, because I think in his head he thought if he made our lives that hard that my mom would come running back to him. And yeah, that was crazy. But anyway, so I was starving in the streets. And sometime later, within a few months, that church put on a bazaar where they have, games and all that stuff. And I ran into that boy, Justin, and he ended up stealing $5 from me that day. And I saw that pedophilic priest that day. And as soon as I saw him, dude, my head started spinning, bro. I was like, whoa, I had this reaction. And Justin never got away from it. He went back to that preschool and he continued to be abused. And by the time I saw Justin again, Justin was like a fucking wild animal. I said, this kid's going to end up in prison for life, dude. He's broken. They have broken this child. He looked like a wild fucking animal. Something you'd see on the savannah that was a predatory, wild fucking animal. And I knew it. I said, Matthew, I didn't say it. Something said, Matthew, you cannot become like that. If you become like that, it is a wrap. It is a wrap. Yeah. And I never became like that, dude, no matter what. And don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? That was just, the beginning. That was the beginning of things that were going to happen. I mean, after that, guns put to my head, being walked through my own death and all this crazy stuff. And I'm not saying I'm just like a victim, dude. I'm not. I'm really not. I am saying this. I am on the other side of this stuff, dude. But I'm saying it to other people that are out there that have been traumatized, man, that are holding it in, that are not, too scared to talk about it, dude. You don't have to go on the internet and talk about it, but that's the thing is, I saw the video where Kevin Gates shared about the trauma that happened to him as a child, getting molested. I believe that's what he said. He got molested. And of course, you say something like that, and of course, other men with fragile little egos, men who have fragile, tiny little egos, who are threatened by everything, probably threatened by the fact that Mr. Gates has enough balls, has enough courage to come forward and even talk about something that uncomfortable, feels threatened. You know what I mean? Because they know they are a coward within their heart. You know what I mean? They know they can never be that strong. So, of course, those type of men with fragile little egos started making videos to attack Mr. Gates and shame Mr. Gates. But as a person like me who has been at the upper levels of the cartel, who has lived the criminal life to the fullest and then walked away from it, no, dude, I got 110% more respect for fucking Mr. Gates. Mr. Gates. Yeah, when he said, I will turn you into something that you can't even imagine, I knew exactly what people were saying, what does he mean by that? Yeah, if you don't know, you don't know, okay? But I knew exactly what Mr. Gates meant by that. I know, and believe me, I know. So he was talking about crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Every single one of them. Cross them T's and dot them I's to the fullest. And, that's one man. There's not very many men on this earth that I've ever said, I hope I get a chance to meet in my lifetime. Mr. Gates, man, that is one man that I have watched doing everything in his power to change and save his life, to get back to his form that he was born as a child. He's a real one, dude. That dude is a straight up gangster. No, he's a soldier of God. That's what Mr. Gates is. He's a fellow soldier of God. And I hope someday I get to meet him. I'm praying for everybody in this world. Please pray for me. Peace.